Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Have you ever gone to a traditional healer just looking for help when you were sick and then things started to go bad in your life? If it has ever happened to you, please reach out to us and we will share your confession. So the message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nanshi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? So before COVID, I was told that I had cancer, and then that was when COVID hit. Soon after COVID, that was when I started to follow this other man. So he's a traditional healer. He is found here on YouTube. So I had been following this man, listening to his videos. I am here in the United Kingdom. So this man, he used to give us a lot of teachings, how to worship the ancestors and what to do and how to communicate with them. So there was one particular teaching in which he said that if you have cancer, you are not supposed to go to the clinic, or otherwise, if you later go to a traditional healer, then the cancer cannot be cured. Once you find out that you have cancer, before you start to take any kind of medication that they would try to give you at the hospital, just refuse, and then you go to a traditional healer. Then after that, you can return back to the clinic just to help yourself. So when I learned about this, I then said, let me go to Zim before I start taking this medication. Otherwise, this cancer is never going to get cured. Like this traditional healer that I am talking about, he is someone that is very famous, and his videos, when he was being interviewed on this other channel, he used to get a lot of views, and I was one amongst his fans. So I then communicated with him and I told him that I was coming to Zim. This man then told me that I was never supposed to tell any of my few remaining relatives that I still have back home in Zim that I was on my way returning back to Zim, because it had been a very long time. So then I left the UK and I flew back to Zim. I arrived at his house. He told me not to tell any of my friends that I had planned this trip going to Zim. I was staying at his house in Harare, and there were a lot of people that he was assisting. So I was then brought into his shrine, and indeed he confirmed that I had cancer and he was going to cure me. So this cancer was on my leg. And then that was when he said the only way that he could get rid of this cancer, I was going to be taken to a room. This will be done at night. And when I was going to be taken to that room, I had to sleep with a python that he uses when he is healing people, or when you are consulting with him, there will be this big python that will be inside this basket that communicates or helps him to communicate with your ancestors. So then he told me that I was going to sleep with that python, not like having intercourse with the python, but just to sleep in the same room where that python would be sleeping. And then that was when I told him that I was someone that had a phobia of snakes. I was so scared of snakes such that I did not want to do such a thing. He then took two women that works at his house as maids, cooking for the people, because there were a lot of people that had came to his shrine. He then said, you are not going to be afraid. You will sleep with these women tonight. So late at night, we then went and we slept, me and those two women. At least it was so much better. I was so scared such that I told these women that I wanted to sleep in between them, and they said it is fine. We then slept. Whilst we were fast asleep, that was when I felt some movements. That snake, it was there in the room with us but it was just by the corner. It started moving and it came towards the place where we were sleeping, and it started licking my leg there where I had been told that I had cancer. That was where the cancer was developing, and this was quite scary for me, but I told myself to relax because this was the healing process. The next morning when I woke up, it was so scary what had happened to me. My leg was so swollen. I then spoke with a traditional healer, and he told me that I could not return back to the UK in such a condition, and he told me to wait. I waited until I was okay. When I was healed, that was when I returned back to the United Kingdom. I was so excited about this, the way that this man had cured me. When I went to the hospital, I was amazed at African ways of healing. And then that was when the terrible nightmares happened. Soon after the results, it came back that I had no cancer, no single trace, as if I never had any cancer in the first place. Then the terrible and scary dreams, they started. Like I would see myself back in the village where my father grew up in, and I would be by the place where his relatives, including my father and my mother, where they are buried. I would be there busy digging a grave. Sometimes I would have dreams where I would be breastfeeding a python, but this was like a baby python that I would be busy breastfeeding. Then I had another dream which was even more weird. I found myself in my dreams, and it was me back in that village where my father and my mother were buried, and I was busy talking to myself, and the other part of me was digging a grave, and the other part of me was asking the other part of me, what exactly were we doing? And then that was when I told myself that I was busy digging a grave because my baby, in which I meant the python, that one that I used to dream about, as I would be busy breastfeeding it, my python now had teeth, so it did not want my milk anymore. It wanted blood. The strange thing about it is that there are two people that have since passed away. Now I keep on having those weird dreams, and I am busy digging another grave, which means that there is someone else who is going to die in the family. So when I was having all of these weird dreams, I then communicated with the traditional healer, because this was after he had done another traditional ceremony for me. He had told me that I had an ancestral ceremony, so there were things that he bought for me back in Zim, and those things he sent them here in the UK. He even asked me if I was able to source chibuku, which I was supposed to use for that traditional ceremony, and I said, for now I cannot get that brewed beer here in the UK. Maybe there if you are able. And he said, it is fine, but you have to pay me because I am not your blood relative, so I will be doing you a favor. And he did that ceremony, the traditional ceremony of inviting the ancestors into my life, yet I was not there. The problem now that I am facing is that this traditional healer, he has since blocked me on WhatsApp. I tried calling him, then his phone numbers, they do not go through. I do not want to keep on killing those that are related to me. I am looking for advice. When you post my story, please tell me. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister right there. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Has it ever happened to you? If it has ever happened to you, please feel free to come to my inbox and share with me your own side of the story. Let us talk about this in the comment section.